This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Wednesday. What's going on, couch fuckers? Warlord. Apparently people like Matt Walsh are upset on Twitter that people are making jokes about JD Vance fucking a couch. Guy Comic, Clinically, Dougie, DJ Dub. Good evening, welcome. Hey Warlord, do you guys have coffee? Do you have coffee in Britain? No one fucked a coach. Oh, you mean a couch? Yeah, JD Vance didn't actually fuck a couch, apparently. That's what I was wondering. It's like I never hear about British people drinking coffee. I was like, surely coffee is worldwide. Everyone has coffee. So surely British people know what coffee is, and it must be a conscious decision not to drink the coffee. So therefore I say, what the fuck is wrong with you? Warlord, good evening. What's some dangerous misinformation other than nobody fucked a couch? Well, as I've mentioned before, most young boys have fucked a couch. Like my hair is a little messy. I might have just woke up from a nap a few minutes ago. Well, there's a Maynard in the background. Okay, so you gotta give props to the dude who, I think it was a dude, who tweeted that JD Vance fucked a couch and like cited a random page out of his memoir and like acted like it was a whole a snippet from it. So like, it was brilliant, it took off. He's also not denied fucking the couch. And as I said, you kind of can't deny fucking the couch. Milana. Good evening. Milana Crossford? Are you some sort of like rich immigrant? No, you're an immigrant like from like one of those Eastern European countries that married some rich asshole over here and you can only speak like 10 words of English. What book? Hillbilly Elegy? No, you should not read Hillbilly Elegy. I'm not high enough for this shit. Cat disappeared. I could have sworn there was a cat there. Curiouser got him that little scratch pad. They've really been enjoying that. Milana Crossford, a Eastern European immigrant who married a rich asshole like Melania Trump. Milana Crossford is a gold digger. Well, no, I ain't saying she a gold digger. She ain't messing with. Sorry. Here's your meme of the day. Worm in my brain telling me to dump the dead bear cub in Central Park and make it look like a bike accident. Kazakhstan, isn't that a fake country? Isn't that the country that Borat is from in the movie Borat? I don't think it's a real country. Nice try, Milana Crossford. But we know our geography here in this chat. Not really a country. You can't lie to us. I'm sorry. I know it's a real country. I really do know it's a real country. And they experienced a boom of tourism following the release of the movie too. I mean, it's possible.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
I'm dumb enough not to know that it was a real country. Thank you. Clinically, don't underestimate me and my stupidity. What are we going to be talking about tonight? Lauryn Hill canceled her tour. Apparently, I did not know this about her. I know she's only made like one album. She threatens to make other music. Apparently, she cancels her tours all the time. She's like a Morrissey. Meanwhile, Billy Idol climbed the Empire State Building to put on a raucous performance of Rebel Yell. I don't know, we might get to the... And it looks fucking cool. I like watched the first like 20 seconds of the video. I'm like, oh shit. We might have to do the animal video. Like, I'll do the story, do the animal video, and then we'll shut off YouTube, and then we'll watch like this fucking Billy Idol video from the Empire State Building. Because it looks fucking neat. You got Sky Comet, you got legal weed in Ohio now. And we're gonna see some happy faces when we do the story about it. Simone Biles is being called on by one of her competitors to call off the cyberbullying that people are doing to her on the internet. Sounds like a Karen thing to do to me. We're going to cover the torrential downpours facing the Carolinas all the way up the East Coast throughout the rest of the week, thanks to Debbie. California experienced a 5.2 magnitude earthquake. There was a gas leak in Colorado that killed multiple people. A woman was charged with throwing a burrito at her husband. Something upset about their Taco Bell McDonald's birthday party. Got video out of the UK of a man chasing a couple with a hedge trimmer. Dude asked his girlfriend to go out to the desert for a bondage photo shoot, tied her up and watched her die. J.D. Pritzker is calling on the sheriff overseeing the department that killed Sonia Massey to resign. A man stole a cop car with a cop in it. There's a standoff in Texas that resulted in a cop getting shot. The first conviction out of Arizona in the fake electors case. Speaking of musicians, I should have done this with the Lauryn Hill and the Billy Idol earlier. Taylor Swift must be stopped. First we had a Taylor Swift stabbing in the UK. Now, a Taylor Swift terror plot. 2 people arrested. When will Taylor Swift's reign of Taylor come to an end? Nicolas Maduro remains defiant amid calls to step down. We're going to have Steve Kornacki break down the primary, where unfortunately we lost one of the good ones last night. However, she is defiant. Well, I don't think we've seen the last of her. Joe Biden, not confident that we will see a peaceful transfer of power if Trump loses, which he knows he's the president, right? He's the one that's got power, right? He knows this. J.D. Vance has thrown down the gauntlet for Harris and wants to debate her in like 6 days. Also questioning Tim Walz's military record. We're going to hear from Al Franken in response to the Republican criticism. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening, Venus. Mitochondria, good evening. Flash, I tell you good evening. So glad to see everybody. Taylor Swift must be stopped. Lazy girl dinner maid and ready to troll down. Hell yeah. I love it. Guitar Hero said goonin' to the Troll Patrol. I love all y'all out there goonin' to the Troll Patrol. Welcome, welcome. I guess we'll get right down to it. I promised to start with the news by 10 after. Let's get to it. I did have a guy on Twitter offer like, hey, you give me the number, I'll debate you. I gave him the number. The phone lines are open. Maybe we'll get a chud calling in. First, we're going to go to Vienna, where Taylor Swift's reign of Taylor must be stopped.
Hey, I'm Hallie, and we are starting with that news out of Vienna, where officials say they are canceling multiple Taylor Swift shows, part of her Eras tour, out of safety concerns. This is after police there say they uncovered what they describe as an ISIS-linked terror plot.
Poor Swifties.
Arresting 2 men connected to this and potentially narrowly avoiding a horrific nightmare. I want to show you here. This is what Swift's website looks like right now here. Under each of the concert dates, it says that all tickets will be automatically refunded within the next 10 days. The shows were supposed to start tomorrow night and go into the weekend. It's important to note here, this attack was not directly targeting Swift herself, but apparently, according to officials,
she's a good target because there's a lot of people at her concerts.
Did hone in on her concerts. Federal and state police in Austria say it was part of a plan to attack major events across Vienna. They say the men they arrested were apparently radicalized through the internet. Tom Winter is all over this developing story for us tonight.
Yes, it would seem they are ISIS.
And where does this go?
Sure, Hallie. So right now, authorities in Austria, according to 2 U.S. officials briefed on the investigation, say that they are looking for one or perhaps multiple individuals who may have had some knowledge of this attack. And so that's new. And as we heard from those Austrian police officials earlier today, this is an active and ongoing investigation. To let people know how all this came about, the Austrians put these individuals under some form of surveillance. They were on top of what they were plotting. And one of the individuals, the 19-year-old who was arrested in Lower and had purchased some chemicals that could have been used to develop a bomb. At some point, they were running kind of close to this weekend's events. And just to be clear here.
Tough day to get rid of a bomb.
It wasn't as if they were looking at this weekend in Vienna and said, well, we want to conduct an attack.
Oh, I fucked it up. But some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Playing what's happening in Vienna. No, they were very specifically focused, we are told, on the Taylor Swift concert and these large events there. Obviously, you're talking about...
Haven't watched that in years.
Attending this concert, another 15 to 20,000 that would have been in downtown Vienna proper. And so this obviously had significant concerns. And I think one of the things that they would have been worried about... just
it was apparently ISIS.
Okay, if the way they were going to conduct...
But just because they're ISIS doesn't necessarily mean, like... There could be some white boy from New Jersey that flew over and decided to join ISIS. That happens.
This attack was not going to be available to them. Would they have conducted an attack another way? And I think that was going to be the concern here based on officials that we've spoken to about how this investigation went down. And they said, you know what's the safest thing to do? Put handcuffs on these people and get them behind bars.
Okay, but help us understand this, because over the course of the last couple of hours here, as this has unfolded and as we've learned more of these details, it sounded like initially officials in Austria said they were not planning to cancel the concerts. Obviously, now we're seeing this update on the website. If you go and click through the links, you see a statement from the organizer saying, you know, these shows have been canceled out of basically an abundance of caution, out of safety concerns here, Tom. Why the flip?
Right. So I think, one, officials are typically loath to say to an event, you must cancel, unless they think, look, there's just no way you're going to be able to put this on without somebody getting injured or worse. Number two, I think they felt that they had a pretty good plan in place. Austria has a team called the Cobra team, which is kind of analogous to the FBI.
The Cobra team?
Hostage rescue team, or the NYPD's ESUA team. These are people with heavy weapons that are trained to really...
Do they have a Cobra commander?
like the type of threat that they could have been facing here. I think ultimately, though, if you're an event organizer, you have to look at the liability, you have to look at the concern, and I'm sure there were people, because some of our own colleagues who were planning on attending this show reached out to me, that had some concerns and perhaps some second thoughts. So I think that that all goes into the calculus here. I think this event probably could have gone off. And there is a school of thought, Hallie, here that when
Lifties are sus.
And people do understand the concerns of the organizers and the performer and all those that would have wanted to attend, that you might be playing into the hands of a potential terrorist here. That's always something to consider.
So where does this go next, Tom? And do we have a sense of timeline for how this investigation plays out? You mentioned they are still looking for anybody who might be linked to or have any knowledge of this alleged plot.
Right. I think there's a lot that's going on here behind the scenes. And I think to take a quick step back here, Hallie, there have been a number of potential plots on the Olympics itself that were foiled prior to this. There have been a number of other incidents in Europe, all with some ties or connective tissue to ISIS. And so I think people have to be concerned that there remains this threat. And it's something the FBI has talked about on the record from the director himself out of his own mouth. So there is definitely a concern of a heightened terrorism environment. That environment was increasing prior to Hamas's attack on October 7th and has only gotten worse from there. So this is something that law enforcement is acutely aware of. And I think when this...
You guys hit the weed. I didn't even see it. What was I reading the rundown of what was going on?
Chapter is finally written, or this book on this particular attack is written.
I was smoking anyway.
A lot of coordination among law enforcement agencies around the globe and some work here that perhaps stopped something that could have been quite serious.
Thanks for watching.
Shut up, Lester.
Breaking news and top stories on the NBA.
Where was I? I was in the Surfs chat, or it might have even been Grimlow. There's somebody like that earlier today, and at the end of their video, Lester popped up, and I'm like, shut up, Lester! really hoping one of my peeps was in the chat, got a kick out of it. Might have been the Surfs. I hung out with the Surfs for a little bit. And Lance was talking about how he had 6 viewers on Rumble. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go over and Rumble and watch you. I was like one of 2 people in the chat over there. I was able to help Ratio get him 2 likes to 1 dislike on Rumble. I go and make my rounds and visit people. Like when shit's going, like I'll have like a video exporting or something, so I'll have like 10 minutes just to kill. So I'll like troll people, go visit Twitch, and pop in on other people's chats. It's nasty over there on Rumble. I will tell you that. The amount of anti-Semitism. Oh, like, everybody on Rumble and BitChute thinks I'm Jewish. Because all my shit posts over there, right? I haven't even checked them forever. Do you want to go read Rumble comments? That could be fun. I might not be able to show them on stream. They're horrible. Probably shouldn't do it, but a lot of anti-Semitism in the comments on BitChute and Rumble. But all my stuff from YouTube posts automatically to both those platforms. And just the comments crack me up. What, with my nose? Let me tell you guys, I hit Curiouser and I were smoking the bong before she left. My dude did not show up until like 9 o'clock, and she was really hoping to get out of here long before then. But she and I are smoking a bong after my dude comes, because like we were like completely out. I'd smoked my last one with her with you guys on stream. I think I might have been that's what it was. I had enough in my grinder for another bowl that we smoked after I got off stream. That's what it was. So, like, as she's getting ready to leave, like, we're smoking a bong, I, like, took a huge hit, and I had a coughing fit, and I just, like, I hacked up a lung, like, and it was like, all over me. It was like I've been slimed by, like, some kind of ghost or something. I feel a lot better, though. Feel a lot less congested in my chest. But holy, I thought I was going to die. I was... It was horrendous. I like that there's some kind of misunderstanding going on in the chat, and everybody's being super cool about it, because we have developed an awesome community here. I love all of you. I still don't know what to think about, because with Venezuela, it's hard to separate fact from Western propaganda. But I think Maduro cheated? Possibly? Reputable organizations like the Carter Center have said that the election is questionable. So, but Maduro is refusing to step down amid calls for his resignation.
Streets of Venezuela following the country's contested presidential election. Now, Venezuela's top prosecutor is launching a criminal investigation against Edmundo Gonzalez and Maria Corina Machado, the two leaders of the opposition against President Nicolas Maduro. The investigation is centered around Machado and Gonzalez calling on the country's military to abandon their support of President Maduro and denying Maduro's claim to have won the presidential election. That is a denial that is supported by the United States government. Now, all of this is happening as U.S. officials also worry the unrest could then exacerbate the migration crisis, which, according to the UN, is already the largest forced displacement in history that was not caused by a war.
This isn't good.
7.7 million Venezuelans fleeing the country since 2015. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado is joining me now from Venezuela. Thank you for being here with us. Let's start with, first of all, the fact that Maduro has still not released the vote tallies. You say you have evidence that suggests Edmundo Gonzalez won this presidential election. Also, right now, Venezuela's top prosecutor launching a criminal investigation into both you and Edmundo. What is your response to that initially?
Well, we have beyond evidence. We have the proof. We have over 83.5% of the tally sheets that demonstrate, and these are original official documents printed by the electoral machines that were collected by our polling monitors. And we were able to gather them, digitalize them, put them in a web page where everybody can see them. They have a QR code, which makes them unique and cannot be duplicated or altered. The one, Edmundo Gonzalez won by a landslide. So even if Maduro gets 100% of the votes still missing, he would never even get close to Edmundo Gonzalez. So it is clear that Edmundo Gonzalez is a president-elect by the Venezuelan people.
And now let's talk about the charges against you and Edmundo Gonzalez. How do you plan on defending yourselves against these? What legal steps are you considering in response to this investigation right now?
Well, it is important to understand that the Supreme Court in Venezuela and all the judiciary system is absolutely controlled by Maduro and terrified. Even today, a prosecutor was put in jail because she refused to follow orders that were unjustly given to her against innocent protesters. So we know exactly what we have done. We are defending popular sovereignty, we're defending the vote, and we are defending our right for free protest. And we will not give up. It is important for the world to understand that this took us years to prepare for. And we had the most formidable volunteer platform of over 1 million people with specific tasks on July 28 in order to defend the vote. That is precisely what we did. And we will make the truth prevail in the days to come.
In this moment, do you fear for your own safety and the safety of your family?
We all fear for freedom. We all fear for lives. Last night, one of my colleagues, a young woman that's the director of the campaign in the state of Portuguesa, she was taken by, hijacked by the forces of the regime, just because she coordinated all the effort to defend the vote, and she's disappeared right now. And there are over 1,500 people that have been detained. 24 Venezuelans have been killed just for rightfully protesting the right for a future in our country, so that migration will stop and the flow will reverse. We want our children, we want our family back to get back here, back with us. The only way that can happen is that there is a future of prosperity, peace, and freedom in Venezuela, and that will be the consequence of a peaceful transition once we make the result of July 28 be respected.
What do you think right now the role is of the international community, particularly in the United States, in supporting Venezuela's opposition, but also ensuring a fair electoral process? I mean, what can other countries really do right now?
Well, I appreciate the fact that most democratic countries have recognized that the result that the Electoral Council gave is not true. Many countries have already recognized Edmundo Gonzalez as the elected president. The U.S. has recognized the victory of Edmundo Gonzalez, and I appreciate the Biden administration support in that sense. And now I expect that all these countries work in two ways. First, we have to stop repression. We have to stop harassment and killing of our people in the streets. Secondly, we need to support the peaceful transition to democracy. And this is something that should be pressed and let known clearly to the regime. They cannot get out with this. I mean, the victory of Edmundo Gonzalez is obvious. Everybody here and abroad know that Maduro committed huge fraud, and it is a moment to move forward into a negotiated transition.
Well, thank you so much for your bravery and your resilience and your making an effort to speak with us here today. You don't have the courts, you don't have the military right now, but you do have the public's attention, and we will continue to talk about this. Maria Corina Machado, thank you.
It just sucks because of our reputation, it's suspect anytime we support one side in an election. Maduro seems sus as fuck, but I don't know what to believe. He hasn't released the results. He says they've got 83% of the tear sheets and can prove that they won. Meanwhile, in Bangladesh, we saw the overthrow of the government. The prime minister fleeing the country. We have a new interim government established now.
Now, the Nobel Peace Prize winner Muhammad Yunus is going to return there, we understand, on Thursday to become the leader of the nation's interim government. He's a long-time political foe of the ousted Prime Minister. And actually, in the last few minutes or so, we've just got these pictures in from Charles de Gaulle. This is the main airport in Paris. He has been there, we understand, having a minor medical procedure, but he's there, obviously, to fly back to Bangladesh. He was announced as leader following talks between the president and student leaders who played a key role in weeks of protest that toppled Sheikh Hasina. Mr. Yunus is
Mama, I tell you good evening.
Several legal cases this year, which he said were politically motivated, and as I mentioned, in Paris for that small medical procedure. Dhaka is now said to be largely calm, but there have been reports of looting and killing across the country. Police there have also gone on strike. They're complaining of a wave of reprisal attacks against them. Let's take you to Akbar Hussain from our Bengali service, joining us from Dhaka. Where to start? There's so much, but let's start with Mr. Yunus and whether there is broad happiness about the fact that he is coming back and taking over.
He's coming back to Dhaka either tonight or tomorrow, and when he will be back, then Mr. Yunus will choose his colleagues, around 10 or 15 members of the cabinet. And Mr. Yunus came because the students' leaders, they demanded and they proposed the name of Professor Muhammad Yunus as the head of the next interim government, because
the kids was like, this guy
who could turn around the country, because Bangladesh is now, stability is very much needed here. There is no government for the last 2 days.
Mind if I do,
in many parts of the country, some sort of disorder and violence is still going on. We have seen that many police stations were set on fire, around 500, and police officers, they went under hiding, and all local police stations are empty. So some sort of disorder is still going on, and houses, properties and businesses belong to the people who were Sheikh Hasina's party, Awami League. Their houses and businesses were burnt. So it would be a difficult task for the next interim government to look up.
Night Sky Comet. Light one up, tip one back.
Have gone on strike. They're very worried about reprisal attacks. What does that mean for the streets of Dhaka right now? Because I had seen some reports that it's students themselves who are actually on the streets doing things like directing traffic.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing to see. I have seen in many places, because students say that because as there is no police force in the country, police are not performing their duties. Police are basically, they are scared of public backlash, because during the violence, many police personnel, they were killed. So now students, they think that it is their responsibility, to take care of the traffic management, because I have seen in many parts of Dhaka city that students, they are actually controlling everything. So what the army chief and other political leaders, and even the Bangladesh's president, Mohammad Shahabuddin, they think that, once the interim government is formed, then the public order will be back. And as I mentioned earlier, that, there is a political vacuum here in the country. So as long as, the interim government is not forming, so some sort of uncertainty is still going on. So the student leaders, they think that it is their responsibility to protect things, because there are miscreants who can take the advantage of the vacuum. That's why they think that they have some sort of, they have to play some roles in maintaining law and order.
Akbar, just one quick final question. Any idea who else might be part of this interim government?
This is not clear yet, because it will depend on Professor Muhammad Yunus, but this is going to be certain that this government would be a non-party interim government, because the Professor Yunus, he may choose people from, retired justice, retired army officers, maybe journalists and lawyers, human rights activists, that it would be a composition of different professional groups that we can understand. And this is not clear
that sounds good.
This interim government will continue. It might be even 6
Everybody living in peace.
1 year, 2 years, that's not certain yet. But in the meantime, one of the main political parties in Bangladesh Nationalist Party, they said that once Professor Yunus takes over, he should arrange an election within 90 days.
I've heard that call too. Akbar, we have to leave it there.
That is very, very uncertain.
Thank you so much. Good to get the latest from Dhaka.
Talking too much, Akbar. It's amazing the coalition that Tim Walz has pulled together. Praised by AOC and Joe Manchin. Endorsed by the unions. Praised by Mark Cuban. They really did. They gave him like the old the hook, pulled him off stage. They're calling him Tampon Tim. It's absurd, but we're not quite there yet. Before we get there, we're going to talk about the primary that happened last night. I figured, we all like Steve Kardashian. He's the perfect guy to give us the breakdown. Let's go to him.
The second time this summer, a member of the so-called squad has lost their primary. Democratic Congresswoman Cori Bush was defeated by prosecutor Wesley Bell in Missouri's 1st congressional district.
A cop, nonetheless.
Critic of Israel's war in Gaza, and a pro-Israel group spent nearly $9 million on ads attacking her.
Glitch.
Bell. Her defeat comes less than 6 weeks after Congressman Jamal Bowman, another critic of Israel, lost in his primary in New York. The stage is also now set.
Fucking, who wants to help kids? Listen. So my buddy, Battle Opossum, he's a wrestler, right? Like both amateur and professional wrestler. He loves both. And he has a special needs kid. And he's got like a real place in his heart for, I thought for kids. So, like, I saw this video, and it was this kid, like, he had, like, Libertad, good evening, had maybe, some sort of, like, cerebral palsy or some sort of condition, and they let him come out and wrestle, and, like, the dude let him get a pin on him, and I thought it was all heartwarming. I sent that video to my buddy. He's like, why the fuck did you send me this bullshit? I was like, I thought you thought it would be heartwarming. Like, I don't give a shit about other people's kids. I was like, well, I don't give a shit about your kids. No, I really like his kids. They're sweet. I'm sorry. Anyway, back to. It did sound creepy. Cancel Justin. That's why I caught myself. Like, no, I'm not like Uncle Justin or anything. I don't see him that often, but like when every 5 years when I see him, give a high five to the oldest one. As he's in high school now. I hate kids. I don't like being around them. You got friends with kids. I do not! Sparkles! No, what she's referring to is that I watched... Some woman asked me to watch her kids in the Five Guys while she went to the bathroom. I didn't take a random kid to the bathroom. I sat right there with you. I think there's even a picture of me from that day. Thank you very much. No, some woman sitting across from... Ask me, not her. Why would you ask me? Like, here, watch my kids while I go to the bathroom. That's insane. I got a Maynard under me. Anyway, back to the politics. Fortunately, we lost one of the good ones last night. But after this, I'm going to play you a clip from her campaign concession speech.
Lost their primary. Democratic Congresswoman Cori Bush was defeated by prosecutor Wesley Bell in Missouri's 1st congressional district. Bush has been a vocal critic of Israel's war in Gaza, and a pro-Israel group spent nearly
Never thought I'd root for a Bush.
Ads attacking her and boosting Bell. Her defeat comes less than 6 weeks after progressive Congressman Jamal Bowman, another critic of Israel, lost in his primary in New York. The stage is also now set in one of the most closely watched Senate races this November. Steve Kornacki is at the big board with more on yesterday's results.
Yeah, the big headline last night, Cori Bush, incumbent Democrat, member of the so-called squad, losing the Democratic primary in Missouri's 1st congressional district to challenger Wesley Bell. Obviously, this attracted an unusual amount of attention for a House race. What happened? Well, basically, you could split this district into two parts. There is right here, the city of St. Louis itself. Bush, this has been her base in the past. She won this by 8 points last night. That's typically what she has done when she won the seat originally. originally in 2020, similar margin. Where she lost this race last night was in outlying St. Louis County, some more suburbs of St. Louis. Here you see she lost that part almost by 15 points to Wesley Bell. When Bush first won this seat 4 years ago, she unseated a Democratic incumbent. She only lost this portion of the district by 4 points back then. It exploded to about 15 last night. That's the difference. That's why she loses. The other high-profile primary last night, not that it was competitive at all, but take a look.
Money for nothing and your chicks for free.
In the Senate, on the Senate side, Republican primary, Mike Rogers easily wins that primary. On the Democratic side, Alyssa Slotkin, member of the House, easily wins that primary. This is an open Senate seat, but this sets the stage for what will be one of the most closely watched Senate races this fall. Senate control obviously on the line. The reality of this Senate race between Rogers and Slotkin, Democrats, this is really a must-win seat for them. They're clinging to that tiny Senate majority. They've got a couple of red states where they have seats right now, where they're playing defense. They got to get through. They got to win 2 of those 3 red states, and then they got to protect states like Michigan. So obviously this will be a huge, huge race this November. See how it plays out.
Thanks for watching.
Shut up, Lester. I weighed that. I knew Lester was going to be at the end of a Kornacki video. I did weigh the possibilities of that happening. Cori Bush was defiant in her concession speech last night. I don't think we've seen the last of her, which is a good thing in my opinion.
For my position as Congresswoman, all you did was take some of the strings off. Let's be clear. 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 Let's talk about what it really is. Because see, now I don't have to worry about some strings that I have attached to it as much as I love my job. But all they did was radicalize me, and so now they be afraid.
It sounds like they're censoring her, but it's just like the mic cutting out because of all the noise in there.
See, now they about to see this other Cori, this other side, because let me say this. I just grew up a whole lot more over the last few weeks. Just grew up a whole different way, and so
probably cutting out from the board actually.
They think
whatever kind of little
so the
thing they're
thing
using.
is this. The thing is this. I don't think that anything, there is nothing that happens in my life that happens in vain. So if this happened, it's because it was meant to happen. And let me say, it's because of the work that I need to do. And let me say this. AIPAC, I'm coming to tear your kingdom down.
Probably cutting out from like that was like a news camera or something. Cutting out as it was. Even from somebody's cell phone. So, Joe Biden is apparently not confident that a peaceful transfer of power will happen if Donald Trump loses the election, which is odd because he's the president.
Come on, man.
He's saying he's going to pull a coup and stay in office.
It's day 2 for the new Democratic
Who would have seen that coming?
campaign trail as Vice President Kamala Harris and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, speak to voters in states that could decide the 2024 election. Meanwhile, the Republican nominee for vice president wasn't too far away. Senator J.D. Vance makes his case for the Republican ticket in the same states his rivals are visiting. But first, President Joe Biden sat down for an exclusive CBS News interview, his first since announcing he would no longer seek a re-election. Our Weijia Jiang and Robert Costa, who did that interview, are both here with me in Washington. Great to see you both, covering all angles of this campaign. Bob, I want to start with you because you just sat down this afternoon with President Biden in the residence, as we saw in that clip. I want to play a little bit of sound of your interview.
Are you confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power in January 2025?
If Trump wins, no, I'm not confident at all. I mean, if Trump loses, I'm not confident at all.
Oh, my God.
That's what he says. We don't take him seriously. He means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there'll be a bloodbath. It's have to be a stolen election. Look what they're trying to do now in the local election districts where people count the votes. They're putting people in place in states that they're going to count the votes, right? You can't love your country only when you win.
You can't love your country only when you win. We've heard him say iterations.
Here is her. Good evening.
What you make of that exchange and any other thoughts you have from this interview.
I'm just shaking my head.
Pretty serious comments from President Biden. We talked about democracy in the course of our conversation today. And it's 7 years ago this month that Charlottesville, the white supremacy march, happened.
Boring me, Bob.
In time that pushed Biden to think about running.
If you're watching on Twitch, you're going to get the ad break right now.
As we all know. But to hear a sitting president of the United States.
Probably not going to take that long before I cut them off. I'm going to hit you with ads. Here you go.
That he's alarmed about the state of American democracy, and he's not confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power if the Republican nominee wins, is, relatively speaking, an historic statement, a stark statement, and it reflects where President Biden believes this country is at a crossroads in terms of democracy.
He's too proud, clinically.
Trump moves closer to the White House. He believes Vice President Harris is in a strong position. He voiced full support for her in our interview. At the same time, he kept coming back to his concern about the country, about Trump, and about American democracy. And my takeaway as a reporter is that this is a president who, at this stage in his term with 5.5 months left, is sounding the alarm for the country about his view of the fragility of American democracy.
Yeah. And I was just going to say his concern about the.
I just, like, they've got like a 1 vote or a 2 vote in the House. Like, that's all it is. That's all they got. I can't imagine with that close of a margin there's any Republicans going to try to hold things up. They don't have the Senate. What can they do? What can they really do? Branson Goldfish, good evening.
Threat to democracy has shaped so many of the most important decisions in his political career. Yeah. He initially said he was going to be a transition candidate to get through Donald Trump. That's why he ran in 2020. One main reason why he decided to run for re-election was, again, because of this fear that democracy was at stake. It is the same reason why he ultimately...
It wasn't, no, that's bullshit. It wasn't no fear that democracy was at stake. It's that he's a proud old man that's always wanted to be president, and he wanted to serve 2 fucking terms. And that's why, like, he's not going to step aside before his last term. He might die before the end of his first term, before the end of this term. His only term. But he may die before then. He's that fucking old. I don't think he would make it through a second term. Now, we can keep an eye on it. Jimmy Carter, almost 100 now, or is 100, right? He's coming up on his 100th birthday. You would have thought that he would have died like 10, 15 years ago. He's still kicking. He says he wants to live long enough to vote for Harris. What a trooper. They're going to wheel his ass out on the campaign trail. You're going to have Jimmy Carter out stumping for Harris Walls down in Georgia. Oh, shit. I can see it now. Welcome back, everybody, from the commercial break. Oh, J.D. Vance says he wants to debate not Tim Walz. He doesn't want to debate Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate. J.D. Vance says he wants to debate Kamala Harris.
Seventh? Okay, so here's my offer to Kamala Harris. If she'd like to do a debate with me on August 13th, I'll do it, right? We should do that, right? I don't think she wants to anymore because, one, she probably doesn't even know that she's going to be the Democratic nominee. And two,
what?
We don't know who the vice presidential nominee is going to be either.
Listen here. If we don't know whose vice presidential nominee is it going to be, so if anybody gets the boot, it's going to be you, my friend. But I don't think you're going to get the boot. I think Peter Thiel likes you too much, so you're kind of like his golden boy. But, like, if anybody in this race is getting replaced, it is totally you.
He's got a lot of skeletons that are coming out of the closet today, and we'll see if the Democrats pull a bait and switch on Tim Walz or on Kamala Harris, just like they did with Joe Biden. But look, seventh.
By the way, they cannot do that. They are both officially the nominees now. Like, it is official. And why would the vice president do it? She should do it. Call his bluff. Say she will debate J.D. Vance. I love it. And if she debated J.D. Vance on August 13th, they'll replace him. Trump will be like, oh no, you gotta go, J.D. She'll tear him apart. I'd rather see Walz debate him, yeah. But I mean, this election has been unprecedented. Vance also questioning Tim Walz's military record.
J.D. Vance has repeatedly criticized part of Tim Walz's service in the Army National Guard. Vance is also a Marine veteran himself. Where is this coming from? What's the attack line?
Right. Vance served in the Marine Corps. He served 6 months on a deployment during the Iraq War, in which he served in the Public Affairs Unit. And he, in these last 24 hours, has taken direct shots politically at his now other opposing vice presidential candidate, Tim Walz, namely around his 24 years of service in the Army National Guard. And notably, right before he ran for Congress in 2006, he retired from the National Guard, and J.D. Vance contends in order to avoid serving a deployment in Iraq himself. Take a listen.
Walz did say on camera that I carried a gun in a war. Well, which war did you carry a gun in? Because you apparently never went to a war zone. That is a totally reasonable question to ask, and I think the evidence at this point is overwhelming that he lied about serving in a combat zone.
Of course, with just under 3 months left, a lot of this is the first.
Did he say he was in the combat zone?
Both of these individuals are, and so there is a quick, fast effort here by both sides to try to.
Because if you were in the military, you carried a gun. That statement would be true whether you were in a combat zone or not. That would be just twisting what he said.
To lay claim to their own biographies for the American electorate that is going to be making this important decision in November.
And Yamiche, what's the response to that allegation that he lied about his service?
Well, the Harris campaign is really leaning into the idea that they see Tim Walz, and Tim Walz sees himself as a servant to the American people. And they also put out a statement, and I want to read part of it. It says, after 24 years of military service, Governor Walz retired in 2005 and ran for Congress, where he chaired Veteran Affairs and was a tireless advocate for our men and women in uniform. And as vice president, he will continue to be a relentless champion for our veterans and our military family. So that is the Harris campaign's response, but I can also tell you it's probably going to get even feistier than that. Just yesterday in Philadelphia, Governor Walz was talking about the idea that he can't wait to debate J.D. Vance, saying that he needs to get off his couch and come to debate him. So definitely going to hear more of that language, too.
Yamiche, just to be clear, there's no direct response to that allegation that he lied about serving in a war zone.
I haven't heard them say he's not lying. What they're saying is that he served his country both as a veteran and also as a Congress member.
Understood. Yamiche Alcindor and Vaughn Hilliard, thanks to you both.
Thanks for watching.
Shut up, Lester. That's like a three-peat tonight, isn't it? I'm sorry. A little heavy on the NBC, it seems. Let's go to CNN. Can we have Al Franken back? Is that possible? He was really good as a senator. Can we have Al Franken as a senator again? Can that be a thing?
The reactions to the official Democratic ticket being set are pouring in tonight. Senator Bernie Sanders called Governor Walz a great asset. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she called him an excellent decision.
He should have never stepped down.
Hamill says the ticket is a new hope. And former Minnesota Senator Al Franken tweeting a picture of himself with Walz, writing that he is, quote, a great choice with an impressive record in Minnesota, and he's not weird. Joining the conversation is Al Franken himself. Senator, thanks for joining us. So what do you make of this decision? I mean, what do you make of the critique that this is doubling down on the left when really what Vice President Harris needs to be doing is reaching out to the
maybe he doesn't want to go back
of the country?
Well, I think some of the things that have been described as left are really just common sense things. For example, free breakfast and lunch for kids at school. That's just making sure that kids have enough nutrition to learn. That seems pretty common sense to me. Requiring that we get to a zero carbon footprint in electric utilities in 2040. If you believe,
God, it's gonna be 2040 before you know it, guys.
I think we witness pretty much all the time.
Sounds crazy.
It's a common sense thing to do.
What do you make of the comparison or the contrast with J.D. Vance? I want to play
it's like,
a little
I'll
bit
be
from what he
56.
had to say about his new opponent on the other side today during his speech.
If Shapiro were not Jewish, would he have been chosen?
Yes. I can say that unequivocally without any...
How can you make that argument? If there was some bias against Jewish people, why would he even be in the running in the first place? Why would he have been the runner-up of all the people? J.D. Pritzker, also Jewish. What, like, the attack doesn't even make any sense. Thought he was Italian. Here's the thing. Apparently the rumor is that he went into the meeting and he came across as a gigantic prick and a showboater. And that nobody liked him. And that Tim Walz went into the meeting and everybody loved him. And that's what it came down to. And that's fucking cool. And I can totally see it. That has been the reporting, the leaks coming out of DC. That he went in and he was like just arrogant about everything. So good luck to you, brother.
Data.
The Democrat Party has a massive anti-Semitism problem. That is why they did not pick Josh Shapiro.
The pro-Hamas radical left of the Democrat Party said, no, you're not allowed to be Jewish and on the Democrat ticket. If Josh Shapiro's name were Josh Smith, he'd be the VP.
It doesn't make any sense.
Named right now.
That is not the bite that I was going to play for you, but since it's
That's
there,
hilarious, though.
It's stupid.
Let's talk about it.
Who was that? Fox?
Let's talk about that because that was a mashup of a lot of Fox commentators, but Republican lawmakers basically saying that the reason that we're talking about Tim Walz and not Josh Shapiro is because Josh Shapiro is Jewish. Do you think that there's any truth to that at all?
Jewish man Al Franken.
None. You know, you had three guys were the finalists, Mark Kelly and Josh Shapiro and Tim Walz, and you had to pick one of them. You couldn't have two running mates. And if you had, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me that that is the conclusion you come to.
Lee Zeldin is also here. He's got a question for you as well.
Lee Zeldin.
Great to see you. Josh Shapiro and Kamala Harris.
They let this fuck on the air?
They all gave what was about an hour and a half worth of remarks. There was no mention of Israel. There was no mention of anti-Semitism. I don't think that was by accident. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they were talking to the issues that they think play most strongly. That's what you usually do in speeches like this. They weren't covering every issue around, like a State of the Union address or something. So I think that just made sense to me. Those are divisive issues to some degree, and you know they're going with their strengths.
Yeah.
So what do you think the debate would look like?
Politically advantageous.
Vance and Tim Walz. I should note, Tim Walz, according to our reporting, said himself he is not a great debater. So there's that. But you've got two guys who are claiming to have a claim on what it really means to be from the Midwest. What's the debate going to look like?
Well, okay, if you look at the two guys and how Midwest.
What's wrong, Libertad?
Tim grew up in Nebraska, then as an adult moved to Mankato, Minnesota, and became a high school teacher. He had joined the National Guard first and was in the National Guard for 24 years or something. Was the highest ranking enlisted officer in the history of the Congress. Was a football coach, then for the House, and then ran
Chris Hansen,
governor.
What's up, my friend?
Let's see.
69, nice.
Vance, he joined, I think he was in the military.
He was.
Light one up, tip one back.
Yeah, and then he went to, I think, not sure which order he went to the military when he went to college, but then he went to Yale Law School. And then at Yale Law School, Peter Thiel found him and started him as kind of a venture capitalist in San Francisco. And he wrote a book, a very good book about hillbilly elegy, which ultimately kind of
he called it a good book.
I think sold out his culture that he grew up in, and
before I got the Twitch ban, they wouldn't approve it. That's the reason why. I've not tried since I've been reinstated because I've been a good boy. Like, have you heard from other people that Twitch has been a little more generous about approving emotes? Yeah, that's we got the weed troll. That's the only one that got approved. I guess because the joint and the eyes being red are so small.
But basically moved to San Francisco and calls Walz a San Francisco liberal, where Walz has never been. I'm sure he's been to San Francisco, but he's never lived there. So I like the matchup in terms of
Gomradsky
and who doesn't. This,
Monoligious.
The Walz story was pretty cool today, I thought.
Van Jones is here as well. Van.
Why? Why so many people?
How you see this going forward now? people from your part of the world don't usually get on the national stage. You are probably the most famous person from your part of the
Chris Presley, I was with him in the first part when they started talking to all the different people. When it was just her and Al Franken, yes, I was totally with it. Once they started going to all of the different, like, fucking, who gives a shit about Van Jones? You're right, we should fuck this. Typical CNN. That's why we don't watch many clips from CNN. I hate these, like, panel fucking bullshit. Coming to us out of Arizona, the first person has been convicted in the Arizona fake elector scheme.
Developing tonight, the Arizona Attorney General's office has announced the first conviction in the state's fake electors case. The AG's...
That's a hell of a mustache. Also, look at this drip. I really like that suit he's wearing. Damn. Monoligious. Oh, yes. Donald Trump tried to steal the 2020 election. And we've already had a set of court cases in Georgia. Now the same thing is happening in Arizona. And charges have been brought. Apparently, the grand jury wanted to indict Trump. I guess prosecutors dissuaded them from that. But the first person in that case has been convicted. I believe they pled guilty. What a badass mustache, though. Look at that.
Arizona Attorney General's office has announced the first conviction in the state's fake electors case. The AG's office told the Associated Press that Lorraine Pellegrino pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of filing a false document and was sentenced to unsupervised probation. She's the former president of the group Ahwatukee Republican Women. Pellegrino is one of 18 people charged in connection with an alleged scheme to overturn Joe Biden's 2020 victory in Arizona. Yesterday, the AG's office announced that Donald Trump's former lawyer, Jenna Ellis, had agreed to cooperate with prosecutors.
My friend with the nice mustache. It's funny you should bring up Jenna Ellis. That might have been my next story. I believe there's definitely going to be more verdicts. I believe more people will flip. Jenna Ellis already flipped, had her charges dismissed because she is going to be a state's witness.
Donald Trump's former attorney, Jenna Ellis, has flipped. That's the report this afternoon. We learned she is agreeing now to cooperate with investigators at the Arizona Attorney General's office in the fake electors case.
She will now testify against the 17 other co-defendants. Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez is live from the state capitol tonight with more on this. Ashley.
Yeah, we definitely were not expecting this afternoon. She says that she's going to take the stand and tell the AG what she knows, which means that she no longer has to worry about doing hard time. Former Trump attorney and prominent conservative media figure Jenna Ellis.
She flipped but didn't even say much in Georgia.
2020 election in favor of Donald Trump says she is willing to work with Arizona prosecutors and be a key witness in the fake electors case. In return, the 9 felonies she faced in Arizona for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy will be dropped.
She's got a lot of information. This is important information, and she has agreed to testify fully for us in our case.
Prosecutors say Ellis was at the right hand of former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani, helping spread false claims of election fraud in Arizona and 6 other states. They say she and 17 other fake electors encouraged the Arizona legislature to change the outcome of the election and pushed then Vice President Mike Pence to accept Arizona's fake elector votes. 11 Arizona Republicans are also accused of signing a document to Congress, falsely claiming they were the state's true electors and attempting to declare Donald Trump beat Joe Biden. Last year, standing teary-eyed before the judge.
Well, I mean, she's guilty. If she was an attorney, wouldn't she advise herself to plead guilty? Because she's guilty as fuck. If the state will give you a sweet deal, you take it. She is an attorney. She knows what she would advise her client to do. So I think it makes perfect sense.
She pled guilty in Georgia and said she looks back on that time with deep remorse. In a statement, Ellis's attorneys write, "We are grateful the Arizona Attorney General's office completely dismissed the indictment against Jenna Ellis as she was not involved in the so-called fake elector scheme. Jenna was originally told she was not a target, and her cooperation is her continued willingness to tell the truth."
Some defendants are realizing that they need to cooperate.
Horse shit. I love it.
And tell the truth, and obviously that's always in.
Chris Hansen, you have just added a new word to my lexicon. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Horse shit.
The interest of justice, and we welcome that.
Yeah, and on that note, attorneys will tell you that when one defendant decides to flip, it's usually followed by other defendants as well. In this fake electors case on a national level, Ellis is now the 4th defendant to admit guilt. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Oh, absolutely. There will be more guilty pleas, possibly very soon. The dominoes may very well start to fall. All right, we're getting to the crime section of the show, but there's not that much that's all that graphic, okay? Like the next 3 or 4 stories are your hardcore crime porn stories before we get back to the bullshit. So I'm giving you the warning. Probably give us 15, 20 minutes. You don't want to see this standoff in Texas? Clinically? Come on.
A developing story in Fort Worth. We just got an update on a Tarrant County.
Light one up, tip one back.
Several times while serving a warrant. Authorities tell us he was serving felony warrants at a home on Eleanor Street near 35. Paramedics rushed the deputy.
Yeah, cop got shot.
Hospital in Fort Worth. And Adriana Dalba is there live to bring us up to speed.
Wait, what? It just said Tarrant County. Are you telling me this happened in Fort Worth? What the fuck is going on? This is today's edition of What the Fuck is Up with Fort Worth.
A developing story in Fort Worth. We just got an update on a Tarrant County deputy who was shot several times while serving a warrant. Authorities tell us he was serving felony.
That's it. That's exactly it, Venus.
Near 35. Paramedics rushed the deputy to JPS Hospital in Fort Worth, and Adriana Dalba is there live to bring us up to speed.
That's right, Chris, and I just learned moments ago that the deputy has been released from the hospital. He was brought to JPS Hospital this afternoon after getting shot 3 times. Now, the sheriff was here, Sheriff Wayburn. He did give an update identifying the deputy as Todd Tipton and telling us that Tipton was doing well, was in good spirits, and expected to make a full recovery.
I kind of want to move there. I should go and be a helicopter news reporter in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That seems like it would be my dream job.
But this entire incident prompted a shelter-in-place order for people in the neighborhood. Officials say sheriff's deputies were serving an arrest warrant in Fort Worth.
It does look like a cozy place.
At about noon today, that's when a suspect began firing from inside.
Oh, I could totally hang out with Tones.
Tipton 3 times. Now, Tipton has been with this department for 13 years, assigned to the fugitive team, and he executes these warrants daily. Well, today deputies went to that home to serve 3 felony warrants on a 40-year-old man. The man was wanted for sexual assault of a child and indecency with a child. The sheriff's office tells us that suspect barricaded himself in the home off Eleanor Street. A Fort Worth SWAT team then moved in, and Sheriff Wayburn has confirmed deputies shot the suspect.
Well, I mean, if I guess I had those charges, I'd rather you not take me alive, too. Oregon gal, good evening. I don't know, Texas is turning blue. Texas will be blue in the next decade, for sure. And if I move there... Dope Idiot 420, welcome in, my friend. That's an odd... that's an odd language you speak. You should believe it. Mitochondria. I'll show you the numbers if you want me to.
Suspect and killed him. Officials say no one else was found in the home. Wayburn shared an update on the deputy's condition this afternoon, moments after visiting him in the hospital.
And the miraculous thing is, it missed everything. Every
nice mustache.
He is resting right now.
Deputy Tipton was shot in the neck, arm, and his lower back. And again, we just learned he has been released from the hospital and is now home resting. For now, live in Fort Worth, I'm Adriana D'Alba.
Fair enough, Komradsky, but a lot of people would call me an asshole. So perhaps Texas needs another asshole. I have actually, one of the only film schools in the country that offers an MFA is University of Texas at Austin. I've thought about it. I've thought about going to law school, guys, and I've been I've been engaged in some legal threats here lately, and it's kind of made me wish I'd go back. Like, should I go back to law school? Should go back to law? Go to law school? Go back to school and go to law school? I'd kind of like to have money. If I had life to do over again, I would have been a lawyer, and then I didn't need to go to school for broadcasting, to be honest with you. I needed money. It was a great experience, and I learned a lot. Really just needed the money to have the equipment. All right, you guys are going to love this story. This is the exact kind of story that Oregon gal yes and no. For all intents and purposes, I am in an area that has legal weed. Yes. Everybody that's been here has told me it's hot outside. I ain't been outside. I don't know. You guys are gonna love this story. A man is accused, I guess this is in Connecticut, stealing a cop car with a cop in it.
Blocks away on Congress Street, a man is accused of stealing a police cruiser with an officer inside. We've been telling you about this case. That suspect faced a judge in New Haven today. News 8's Eva Zamaris has more on that court appearance.
Surveillance video captures the moments New Haven police say a man approached a police cruiser with an officer inside before getting into the seat and taking off. This all unfolding Sunday night outside the police substation on Congress Avenue. Fearing for the safety of others, we're told Officer Carlo Rock pulled the steering wheel, causing the cruiser to crash into a church nearby.
He's just sitting in the car doing a report, unlocks the door to get out to help a citizen, and he's basically kidnapped. The guy jumps in and takes off. He knew he had to bring this to a quick end, and he did. So really respect him, really proud of what he did.
New Haven Police Chief Carl Jacobson visited the church on Tuesday.
Are you a cop?
Making sure everyone is okay.
It's just about following up, letting the officers in the community know we care about them.
The suspect, 49-year-old Stacy Footman, is facing a number of charges, including larceny, kidnapping, and assault of public safety personnel. He appeared before a judge at New Haven Superior Court on Tuesday.
Mr. Footman expressed to me that he's working through some psychological issues, and this conduct, as you can tell, is mental health related and addiction related.
The public defender, who's representing
I was high and stole a cop car.
With the judge ultimately setting it at $300,000.
We've learned that the suspect has a lengthy criminal history dating back to the early 90s. Here in New Haven, police say he's been arrested more than 80 times.
As for what's next, Footman will be back in court at the end of the month. The chief says Officer Rock, who was injured in this incident, will return to work. In New Haven, Eva Zamaris, News 8.
That's the kind of video that makes me happy. I like that kind of shit. This is one of those stories that'll make you mad, but J.D. Pritzker is on the case. The governor of Illinois calling for the sheriff of the department that shot and killed Sonia Massey to resign.
Thur is calling on the Sangamon County Sheriff to resign following the shooting death of Sonia Massey.
The sheriff has failed. He has failed to explain how he ended up hiring this deputy sheriff who has been fired from other departments. He failed to put forward reforms that clearly need to be made, training and other reforms, and still has failed to meet with the Massey family.
Massey was shot and killed by former Sheriff Deputy Sean Grayson near Springfield last month. The sheriff's office has come under scrutiny after it was disclosed Grayson was discharged from the Army for serious misconduct and a history of driving under the influence, yet still managed to get employed by 6 Illinois law enforcement agencies over the past 4 years. Sheriff Jack Campbell released a statement saying in part his office is willing to modify hiring practices, saying before changes can be made, it's important to identify the problem. We have used a process that we believe was consistent with statewide standards. If these standards are deficient, we will at all necessary levels. Campbell also says he has requested to meet with the Massey family on 4 separate occasions and says calls for his resignation are, quote, nothing more than a political maneuvering during a tragic event.
Wow. Fuck you. Fuck you, Copper. I'm glad this is causing an uproar. Okay, this one is really graphic. But it's very titillating. So titillating you might need a titty slap.
A titty slap! Come on now.
A man lured his girlfriend into the desert with a promise of a bondage photo shoot, then tied her to a post and watched her die. There is a picture of the victim. Even People magazine giving the content warning. Gratuitous. A Pennsylvania man who convinced his girlfriend to drive to Nevada, where he then tied her to a signpost and watched her die, was sentenced to life in prison. John Matthew Chapman was convicted on 1 count of kidnapping, resulting in the 2019 death of the woman identified by Trib Live as 33-year-old Jamie Fedden. In May of 2024, the U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Nevada, said in a press release, Chapman was sentenced on Friday, August the 2nd. It is very fucked up. The defendant violated the victim's trust by luring her away from her family and friends in Pennsylvania and out into the Nevada desert, where he viciously killed her. This sentence should send a clear message to others that kidnapping and killing another person will result in a substantial prison sentence. Did we need this to know that? I thought everyone knew that. Thank you, Captain Obvious. According to a federal criminal complaint, Chapman told Fedden they were driving to Nevada from Pennsylvania to potentially buy a home in Las Vegas in September of 2019. Just a reminder. Prosecutors said Chapman had a plan to kill Fedden before they went on the trip. While in Nevada, Chapman then convinced Fedden to drive into the desert to participate in a bondage photo shoot, according to the complaint. Once there, prosecutors said Chapman zip-tied Fedden's hand and feet to a signpost before covering her nose and mouth with duct tape. Chapman then watched Fedden suffocate, according to the complaint. After she had died, prosecutors said Chapman removed the tape, zip ties, and her clothes and left the body in the desert, where it was found on October 5th, 2019. This is what the fucking piece of shit looks like. Prosecutors claimed Chapman then drove back to Pennsylvania, discarding Fedden's clothes along the way. In November 2019, Fedden's friend requested a welfare check. Neighbors told police that Fedden hadn't been seen in months, but they had seen someone they believed to be her boyfriend coming in and out of her home. He was still living in her home. Inside Fedden's home, police found Chapman's ID, Fedden's cell phone, and multiple rolls of duct tape and zip ties. Following his arrest, prosecutors said Chapman admitted to killing Fedden for money. For money? After returning to Pennsylvania from Nevada, prosecutors said Chapman used Fedden's residence and money while pretending to be her, using her Facebook Messenger account. What? Jamie was resilient, kind, loving, and strong-willed. She left this earth too early for us to understand. But God always has a purpose, and therefore we all must believe that Jamie is still among us, fulfilling hers. Amen. That'd probably be my next mini-series after the Taylor Shabusiness one, if I'm kind of trying to get I'm going to like try to pitch some shows to like Discovery ID or one of those channels and see if I can get a budget to make some crime porn. I think I might be able to get I just want to get my foot in the door and be able to make some fucking shit. I want to direct some shit. And I'll do it for cheap. I want to do it artistically, Venus. I want to make a really good mini-series about Taylor Shabusiness. And I want to use it to springboard into doing other things. If you've seen my content on YouTube, I am very all over the place. Like all my student films are like I did a documentary, I did 2 horror films, I did 2 comedies, and I did like an avant-garde film. Yeah, artistic crime porn. Well, the Taylor Shabusiness, like, that's just an interesting fucking story. Come on. I think somebody would. And here's the thing: is I've been working with this woman, and she like runs she used to work in news, and she like even won an Emmy. And I don't know if that's like there's like a local news Emmy, or if she has like an Emmy. Either way, it's impressive, right? Oh, thank you, Oregon gal. Do you know the story of Taylor Shabusiness? I was fascinated by it. It's a wild ride. We don't have time for it. We don't have time for me to nerd out. I discovered her because she attacked her lawyer during one of the court proceedings. We had video of her just like going all out on him while she was handcuffed. Crime theme porn. I would do porn, and I would do porn really well because that's one of the things when I'm watching. I like low budget porn, but it's not very good sometimes with the camera angles or anything. I could do it good on a budget. Is that weird? Here is a man chasing a couple with a hedge trimmer. A Shell station. It looked like gas was like 14 something or other. Police have arrested a man who is alleged to have chased a couple while wielding a hedge trimmer. Footage posted online show a man running across the forecourt of a Shell petrol station in Salford before retrieving. This happened in Britain, by the way. This is why the wording is a little. He went from a hooligan to a scallywag. The man gives chase as the vehicle pulls away before eventually giving up and making his way back to his van. Greater Manchester Police said the incident happened on Monday and a man in his 30s had been arrested. A spokesman said, "We were made aware of a video circulating on social media which showed a man approaching a vehicle in possession of a hedge trimmer. Our officers acted swiftly and last night, on Tuesday, arrested a man in his 30s on suspicion of affray." What does affray mean? That's the most British charge I've ever heard. An instance of fighting in a public place that disturbs the peace. That's a nice way of putting it. Here in America, we call that assault with a deadly weapon. Affray. An instance of fighting in public that disturbs the peace. He chased after them with a hedge trimmer.
Affray.
Affray. I'm saying it right, aren't I?
Affray.
Ye old fisticuffs. We would call that assault with a deadly weapon here in America. Hell, over here we probably charge this woman who threw a burrito at her husband with assault with a deadly weapon. Husband upset about his Taco Bell McDonald's birthday meal has burrito thrown at his head by his dentist wife. A Florida woman reportedly got spicy when her husband complained about her choice of McDonald's and Taco Bell for his birthday meal. Esha Prasad, 34, and her husband of 5 years, Shiva Prasad, were having his birthday dinner when an argument ensued shortly before 12:30 a.m. at their home in St. Petersburg, according to the arrest affidavit. Apparently, Taco Bell McDonald's were not up to snuff, and he let her know about it. The defendant and the victim were having an argument about the defendant getting the victim Taco Bell McDonald's for his birthday. The defendant then threw a soft-shelled taco at the... I said burrito, I'm sorry. Didn't the headline say burrito? Has burrito. A soft-shelled taco is folded once. A burrito is rolled. Get your terminology straight. I somewhat the same thing, I guess. Do a soft-shelled taco at the victim, which struck the victim on the right side of the face. When the cops arrived, the evidence was in plain sight. The affidavit notes that the burrito was still on the victim's face. Shiva Prasad told police he was not injured. After being read her Miranda rights, Ashad Prasad allegedly said she threw the burrito at her husband after he threw a bag at her. Shiva Prasad denied doing this. Cops arrested Ashad Prasad on a battery charge. See, they charged her with battery. Battery sounds way worse than affray. She was released on her own recognizance. Esha Prasad is a local dentist who, according to her office website, underwent dental trauma during her own childhood. She and her husband wholeheartedly embraced the coastal lifestyle of Florida. Relish in the tranquility of beach days and delight in activities such as snorkeling and kayaking. All while savoring the community's different culinary offerings, like Taco Bell and McDonald's. I love my job. Go to, I believe this was in Atlanta. Down in Hot Atlanta, right, Sparkles? An eviction from a couple businesses ends up with merchandise all over a parking lot. And apparently a frenzy for some of the items.
At 6 o'clock, two chaotic scenes in metro Atlanta after a local nightclub and a beauty mart are evicted and their merchandise is thrown out into the parking lots.
I know what that's like.
Take a look at this scene over the beauty mart in Clayton County. The contents of the store just piled up outside there. The crowd being blocked by a ring of sheriff's deputies. And in Buckhead, people flocking to the Red Martini Lounge to grab bottles of alcohol that were thrown out in boxes. We have crews at both scenes for you tonight.
God damn.
With Molly Oak, she's live near that beauty mart in Riverdale. This is right along Upper Riverdale Road. So Molly, things out there are pretty tense, right?
And just within the past 10 minutes or so, Ron and Jennifer, about a half a dozen dump trucks showed up behind me, along with a couple of trailers. So add that equipment to hundreds and hundreds of people, plus a ton of law enforcement. I want you to take a look from the skies. This is from our chopper video that we got hours earlier. Now, the sheriff's office did confirm deputies were carrying out an eviction, but that's all they would tell us. Now, what you're seeing here is piles of merchandise filling the parking lot, surrounded by law enforcement. County records tell us the beauty mart owner was evicted.
That's why they got the cops all around it.
Of back rent. Now, this is what we saw when we got on scene. Wigs, eyelashes, jewelry, and beauty supplies.
Damn.
Tons and tons of people. Now, when we
this shit's expensive.
Asking why they couldn't take any of the stuff. Now, with law enforcement throwing yellow tape around that pile while also loading items onto their trucks. Here's how people out here describe the scene.
We like free stuff, so we came out here to get all this free stuff, but then the car saying you can't get the free stuff because the people want to take it. And how y'all gonna take some stuff that ain't even yours? It's free.
So I got my two baskets.
I love her.
Out here to get some free stuff.
We're all times are hard. Why not just let us get the items and invest and be okay? We are Black women. We care about our crown. Why not give back to the community and let us get the products? Let us get the tools. Any other eviction.
Where are the owners?
So now you're getting a live look at what's happening now. In the distance, I can see folks throwing those supplies into the dump trucks. Now, just for perspective, we have been out here for hours, but when we were trying to get out here, traffic was backed up onto 75. One, because there were so many people, and then you add law enforcement was rerouting people, blocking off entrances.
Why not just let the people have it?
More than 30 minutes just to get a half a mile. So a ton of people wanting to be right here.
Just throw all that shit away. Wow.
Live in Clayton County, Molly Oak, 11 Alive News.
Insane. Go to Colorado where people are dead in a gas leak. Gas leak in a townhouse, apparently.
News right now out of Utah County.
Several people sent to the hospital after a carbon monoxide leak in Vineyard happened in the area of 300 North, 750 East. Scary situation. We got a map here kind of zeroing in where this is between Utah Lake and I-15.
Kara Bracken is there live this morning. Kara, what do we know so far about what happened?
Good morning, Dan and Lori. We're here in a vineyard, and we are hearing from the Utah County Sheriff's Office. They say that there was a carbon monoxide leak. Now, a lot of times we're out here in the morning, we're seeing
6
smoke,
people hospitalized.
but the thing with the carbon monoxide is you cannot see it, which makes it extra dangerous. Now, that said, there were 10 people that were inside one of these apartment townhome type buildings, and from there, 6 were taken to the hospital. 2 were in more critical condition. So when you look behind me, you're going to see that some of these buildings
too critical
together.
I'm sorry, I must correct myself. I said 2 people died, 2 people are in critical condition, 4 others injured.
Pretty much they're stacked on top of each other. And with that, they said that one of them, they checked on the side of it. They said they had low levels. On the other side, though, they said that they were higher levels. So they had to bust open a window. Thankfully, nobody was inside of that building. So really only one building with people inside that was the most impacted. So one thing that I asked the Sheriff's Department when they were here was, you know, these buildings don't look that old. They confirmed that. They said that they're not that old. It doesn't matter how old the building is for carbon monoxide levels to be present. That's why it's so important that you do have an alarm that is working.
It's really important that that people have working carbon monoxide alarms in their residences. It's, you know, odorless, tasteless. It's one of those things, like you said, you can't see. And those alarms can be a lifesaver, literally.
Fuck you, pig, but you're right about that.
Now, that said, Dominion Energy
It's a good tip.
called out, as well as the detectives. They've been here checking things out. They have since left, so they do.
Also, get yourself a mammogram or a prostate exam.
Building. As for rule of thumb, they say that
Probably need it.
out that carbon monoxide levels and check out that alarm every 6 months and change those batteries, guys.
Yeah, change the batteries, check your carbon monoxide detectors, make sure you have one.
And it worked in this case, and that's a success story, but all of us need to remember, it's a good heads up, Kara, that it's so dangerous. Thank you for that. We'll continue to track this story throughout the morning hours. You can get those push notifications.
You seem very excited. Meanwhile, over in California, they were hit by an earthquake, 5.2 magnitude, apparently. Also caused a boulder to come out onto the freeway.
Small reports of small aftershocks this morning after a 5.2 magnitude earthquake in Kern County. A lot of people felt it here in Southern California.
Yeah, the shaking actually sent a boulder crashing down onto the 5 freeway in the Grapevine.
Eyewitness News reporter Irene Cruz live in Lebec with the latest on this. Good morning, Irene.
Good morning, Irene.
Good morning. I certainly felt that earthquake last night. It was a good 4 or 5 seconds, a good rolling motion. Like you mentioned, a lot of people in Southern California felt at least a little something. And now there is concern in the Grapevine area, like you were mentioning, because a boulder fell into the roadway, blocked some lanes. And now there is some major concern that with those aftershocks, more debris could come and cause an issue. So let's show you last night's big issue. 2 lanes of the 5 South were shut down because of this large boulder in
that's not a boulder
road, and you can see drivers were moving slowly around it. Traffic was very slow. CHP Tejon is now telling people to drive cautiously.
But where on a lane?
These areas, because there could be more other boulders, rocks, and trees could have fallen in the roadway. And let's also show you video when the earthquake actually hit. This was Verdugo Market and Liquor Store in the community of Mettler. People running from the store, items falling from the shelves. That 5.2 earthquake was centered more around Kern County, just south of Bakersfield, but we felt it across SoCal for a little less than 5 seconds. USGS says there were at least 20 aftershocks, 2 of them registering above 4.0 magnitude. It hit around 9:09 p.m. And Dr. Lucy Jones says, as with any quake, there is a 5% chance of something bigger following.
A reminder, too, that the risk of it being a foreshock drops rapidly with time. 1/4 of all foreshocks are within an hour of their main shock. By the time we get to 3 days out, it's going to be essentially the risk will be all gone.
Now, Dr. Lucy Jones also mentioned the last time a big earthquake hit the Kern County area. That was back in 1952 with a 7.5 magnitude earthquake. So we weren't quite at that level last night. But in terms of that boulder incident on the Grapevine, the 5 South, all lanes are now back open. So there is good news there.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Hey, Mark. I appreciate you. Mark Brown is cool in my book. If you were on the East Coast, I hope you like getting wet. Apparently, like, I was told we're going to get very little of it is actually going to come my way. But what we're going to see of the storm is coming my way on Friday. I was like, what? It was in South Carolina already, like yesterday, wasn't it? Apparently, it's a slow fucker. But is expected to start moving tomorrow?
Storm Debbie churning above warm water just off the East Coast, set to make landfall for a second time now within hours. This time it will be in South Carolina. The storm is slamming parts of Georgia, South Carolina, with heavy rain bringing life-threatening storm conditions and dangerous flooding. At least 6 deaths now are linked to the storm, and that includes 2 children after Debbie made landfall as a Category 1 in Florida. So far, the storm has dumped more than a foot of rain near Charleston. It's causing widespread damage in some areas. Roads are impassable. President Biden already approving an emergency disaster declaration for North Carolina. And what you just saw there a moment ago was also tornado damage. So forecasters are looking at rain levels to reach 15 inches. ABC News' Victor Akendo is joining me now from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So look, Victor, how is the storm impacting the coast where you're at now? And look, clearly the streets and buildings as well.
Kana, within just the last few minutes, conditions really deteriorated here in Myrtle Beach. The rain just started picking up. You can probably hear it. The winds are getting stronger and stronger, too. We are right along.
We're going to have a really big one here in a couple weeks, aren't we?
This would normally be a very busy stretch of road here, as you can see, except for a few cars and maybe a couple people down there. It's pretty much a ghost town out here. A lot of people taking those precautions, stores and businesses closing up shop. But as for the wind, let's just go ahead and take a peek up at these palm trees. They're getting whipped around right now.
And like September is when they're usually like the busiest, isn't it?
From the beach. Further out, we know that Debbie is just getting stronger as we are set for a second landfall in just a matter of hours. Kana?
It's hard to imagine what all those folks are going to be setting up for in the next few hours. Stay safe out there, Victor. Thank you for being with us. Also, our ABC News meteorologist, Samara Theodore, is joining us now from Charleston, South Carolina as well. So, Samara, look, Debbie set to creep back on shore there over South Carolina at some point. What is the latest on the conditions where you're at, and how are you tracking this?
Hey, Kana, yeah, so right now we're starting to see the rainfall become a bit more steady. Earlier we had these deep lulls where we would drive for extended periods of time, but the rain is becoming a bit more steady. And if you look over my shoulder here, this is kind of what you're seeing all throughout downtown. It's quiet. We have a few people walking about, but for the most part, it looks like they've boarded up a lot of the businesses. We've got sandbags down, tarp up on the door. So these businesses for the past few days have been preparing for Debbie, and now they're really standing in preparation for this second landfall.
And so, Samara, as you're watching this, where are you looking at next to be hit the hardest?
All right, so let's talk about that. We're going to get into the track of Debbie now. We're certainly going to see rainfall here in Charleston, really hitting places like Myrtle Beach, up towards Wilmington, into the state of North Carolina, and right along the coastline. So
North Craigellachie.
This is anticipated to make its second landfall tonight around midnight. And then what happens is we see this storm system drive further into Virginia, places like Roanoke, where they're experiencing a drought, but to see copious amounts of rain in this little amount of time could really lead to significant flash flooding, the higher elevation only exacerbating that situation. Then by 7 a.m. on Friday, this becomes an issue for morning commuters throughout much of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh State College, down to the DMV, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. Flash flooding certainly possible. And then by Friday evening, the story is for the Northeast. It's particularly New England. So while we will see rain in parts of New Jersey, Philadelphia, and D.C., we'll see a hefty amount.
It's already causing flooding in New York, isn't it?
Carefully. This is one of the biggest updates we've had in the last couple of hours. They've actually expanded the highest risk for flash flooding into southern Virginia, including Roanoke. This is extremely rare. We don't often see this. So it's important to note, yeah, this is a coastal storm right now, but look how deep it's digging further inland. And finally, the totals. So I know you've been seeing the numbers like 20, 25 inches. That's in total. This is what we could pick up by Friday, an additional 6 to 10 inches in parts of North Carolina, about 4 to 6 where I'm standing right now. and just north of me in Myrtle Beach. Kana?
All right, Samara Theodore, our thanks to you as always.
Georgie, good evening. I hope you enjoy moisture. A lot of people don't enjoy the word moist. There's already flooding in New York, I do believe. So as I understand it, Simone Biles has been dominating the Olympics. Apparently she's got a Karen on her ass now. Michaela Skinner calls on Simone Biles to stop her followers from cyberbullying. The former gymnast said she got death threats after Biles appeared to clap back at comments she made about the U.S. Olympics gymnastics team. Sparkle. We're all going to take a shower. It's our shower. Michaela's also, everyone, if we're talking about storms, if it is lightning, don't take a shower. It is very rare, but you can get a lightning strike and it can come through your shower and electrocute you. That is actually a thing. I always thought that my mom was just bullshitting me, because so many of the things that my mom used to tell me were just like old wives' tales that fucking weren't true. But that one is. Don't shower during lightning storms. Save water, group shower. Not sure, Flash. But that one is a myth or not myth. Drake, good evening. Shower outside. So this is this Michaela Skinner woman who got death threats.
Everyone, I sincerely hope that this topic wouldn't need to be revisited, but unfortunately things have really gotten out of hand lately, and it's one thing to disagree with me regarding something I have said or a point I was trying to make, but it's something else entirely when that turns into cyberbullying or even worse. Watching people cheer on the bullying, which has led to threats of physical harm to me, my husband, and our daughter, is disgusting. So please, at this point,
your daughter is disgusting?
It to just stop for the sake of...
Ma'am, calling your daughter disgusting on your Instagram, that's pretty bad. Why are you bullying your daughter?
Of my family, because enough is enough. So
it's time for a change.
Is because about 4 weeks ago I made a comment about work ethic and what seems to be taking place with the rising generation. To be totally clear, I take 100% responsibility for poorly articulating the point I was trying to make, and the last thing I wanted was to cause harm or offend our U.S. Olympic team. I know these women are incredible.
Don't start shit, won't be no shit.
And almost all of them are my former teammates who I have enjoyed very much cheering on the last few years. I posted a video apology on Instagram, and
I don't think I can listen to this any longer. Like, there is kind of an infantilizing of white women. After winning the team gold medal in Paris, Biles posted a photo to Instagram. Nice photo. Cool. Awesome. She's itty bitty. Oh, wow. Because, like, I'm assuming these ladies are small. So that would make Simone Biles very small. So the caption, lack of talent, lazy Olympic champions, which appeared to allude to contentious comments Skinner, a former teammate, made during the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials. Skinner, 27, who won a silver medal in vault in Tokyo. Shelley, 4'8", itty bitty. Skinner, 27, who won a silver medal in vault in Tokyo after Biles withdrew from the final, allegedly blocked Biles on social media after the pointed caption, according to an Instagram story posted by two-time Olympian Jordan Childs. This is a lot of fucking drama. During the U.S. Olympic trials in June, Skinner shared her live reactions to the Paris team selection in a YouTube video that has since been deleted. I feel like the talent and the depth just isn't what it used to be. Obviously, a lot of the girls don't work as hard, Skinner said in the video in June. Oh shit, well she deserved the clapback from Biles then. Now she's like, oh, I'm getting cyberbullied. Skinner said the resurgence of criticism has taken a toll on her well-being and asked, please, at this point, I am just asking for it to stop for the sake of my family because enough is enough. A few days after her comments in June, Skinner posted an apology on social media. I want to formally apologize to Team USA and our gymnastics community for my comments during my recent YouTube episodes. It was not my intention to offend or disrespect any of the athletes or take away from their hard work, even though that seems exactly like what you were doing. While she noted in her deleted video that Biles was an exception to her criticism of the team's work ethic, she nonetheless faced swift backlash for disparaging the dedication, physical appearance, and depth of the rest of the U.S. team. Dope Idiot 420. In centimeters, I don't know how many camels is that? That's just like one camel, isn't it? It's like a half a camel. DJ Dub, good evening. There's your latest drama from the Olympics. Are they done with the Olympics yet? Is that stuff over? I feel like it's time for it to be over now. How much longer has it got? On Tuesday, my friends in Ohio, couple of weeks. I thought it only went on a couple of weeks. Hasn't it been on a couple of weeks already? Goddamn. Anyway, good news for my friends in Ohio. You can now buy the Sticky Icky all legally.
That's right, Sheila. We're here at Sunnyside Dispensary. We've been outside all morning long. There's been dozens of people.
Ma'am, you just called me Sheila. Sheila was my mom's name. I'm not Sheila. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Waiting in line, eagerly awaiting to get inside Sunnyside. We're looking at the line right now, dozens of people getting those purchases. I'm here with Jason Erkes. You've been staying with us all morning long. Talk to us about the process. How excited are you? It's finally open here.
Sure, very excited. First sale happened a little while ago. And the process is simple. People are walking in, they're showing their ID, and they're working with one of our wellness advisors on an iPad, talking about what their goal is in consuming cannabis, consumption methods they're interested in, and then we'll work with them to find the proper dose. So the order is placed, they get in line, the order is filled.
The proper dose is whatever the strongest shit you got, brother.
Packaging. There's no live product on the sales floor, but this gives them an example of what they can buy.
And it's a great turnout. There's about 100 people out there waiting for this. How does that make you feel?
Great. We're excited. The line has been building and the momentum has been building all morning. And this is day one, so we expect that to continue to build.
Yeah. All right. It's about 7:30. Do you recommend people getting out here sooner rather than later? I know you're open until 9, but I'm sure it's just going to pick up even more after work.
Yeah, we're open 9 to 9 every day, but I think it'll continue to build throughout the day. And obviously, we're doing our best to get people through the line as quickly as possible. It's first day jitters with everything.
But yeah, Dub, that sounds fun.
All right, Derek, quickly, if you want to come over here, you just made a purchase. How excited are you for today? How does it feel?
Excited, very excited.
Have you been waiting for this for a long time?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, I've smoked my whole life. Now I'm getting ready to go home and smoke now.
All right. Derek, I appreciate it. And thank you, Jason, too. Remember, you guys do have
I love that guy.
out here at Sunnyside Dispensary in Oakley. But for now, back to you, Sheila.
Legal, not legal. I'm gonna smoke it. I don't give a fuck. I got high yesterday. I get high today. It is pretty cool. I was pretty excited to do it the first time. I like it was neat. And he seemed excited. But he's like, yeah, I smoke every day. No biggie, I can go over and smoke today. Some people who are not excited are people who purchase tickets to the Lauryn Hill tour, or at least the U.S. leg of the co-headlining tour with the Fugees. You weren't going to that, were you, Curiouser? Miss Lauryn Hill has quietly canceled the U.S. leg of her upcoming co-headlining tour just days before it was set to begin. The tour, which was also celebrating the 25th anniversary of her iconic album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, was scheduled to start on Friday. On Tuesday, ticket holders received notification that the tour had been canceled and all of the dates were removed from Ticketmaster. Refunds will be issued at the point of purchase. As a publication, no reason has been provided for the tour's cancellation. Neither Hill nor Fugees have publicly commented. The European leg is currently slated to happen as scheduled. See the updated schedule below. They have priced themselves out of the market, but also, here's the thing. I didn't know until today that she's apparently known for no showing. She's apparently a Morrissey-type figure. Yeah, I was not aware of her reputation. But tickets have been soft and people have been canceling tours all over the place. Okay, so if you see a show you want to go to, here's my advice for you. Wait until like a couple days before or even the day of. You may be able to get a show that was $100 and something bucks. You may be able to see for $20. The market is wild right now. I am dead serious. Say you wanted to go to SummerSlam over the weekend. If you were in Cleveland or close by to be able to drive the day of, you could have got in for $20 for floor seats. Tickets that were like $150 fucking dollars or more. Insane. Now, someone who you can go and see in concert and they will not let you down. Well, Mr. Billy Idol performed Rebel Yell from the top of the Empire State Building. And as I said when I was billboarding the show earlier, I'm going to do the story. We're going to do the animal video. We'll say goodbye to YouTube. And then we'll come back. We'll listen to Billy Idol from the top of the Empire State Building. How's that sound? Billy Idol and his guitarist Steve Stevens performed an acoustic version of Idol's iconic hit Rebel Yell while tethered to a balcony atop the Empire State Building. After playing the first ever concert at the Hoover Dam last year, I want to see that. Holy fuck, is there video of that? I will watch that whole thing. Idol went a step further and much higher by strapping himself to a narrow balcony on the 103rd floor of the Empire State Building to play the acoustic number. The platform was originally built as a disembarkation deck for passengers of airships tethered to the Empire State Spire. Needless to say, the footage is incredible with sweeping drone shots showing Idol and Stevens side by side on the small platform. See? This is fucking cool as shit. I can't wait to watch it. We're gonna watch it on Twitch right after the animal video. And I've got something special for you for the animal video. We got a lot of new people. It's been a long time since we've checked in with them. I think it's time to take a ride on the puppy bus.
Thank you for riding with Mo Mountain Bikes. You guys got some treats from your fans again. Andrea. Up front here, we have little Louie.
Ah, that's adorable. Oh, he's so cute. Is that a Maru next to him?
Here's Echo.
Oh, Echo. They're playing the ASMR game. I missed his name.
Emergency exit Murray.
Murray. Oh, did you see that slobber? That was a Maru.
Bama.
Bama. Oh shit, a Maru tried to take it.
Bama.
Oh, look at all that slobber.
Come on.
Dropped half of it there, girl. Nope, Marley's gonna get it.
Oh, chum. Look at that coat.
Indiana.
Indiana?
Stay shoe. Fish.
They say Bish. Listen to his tail bump up against the window. He can't wait to get him his treat. He's so excited.
Now for the squeaky chirper impatient Tully back here. So something I'm not going to do is give it to him when he's too excited or chirping like that. So I'm going to wait for him to be calm for a good moment.
He's very excited.
We don't want to reward that slapping and protest barking.
They are very good. This Mo Mountain Mutts is awesome. They are in Alaska.
Good boy.
And like only their best puppies get to go out and ride the puppy bus and go out and go on
It's
adventures.
a little jumpy, so I just stop what I'm doing and restart.
Like they're all well trained.
Yeah, you can view it on me if you want, so you guys can see what I'm doing. Very good boy.
I can go to the store, but it has been easier to go back to the black market.
And with enough repetitions, it gets better and better each time until they're calmly waiting patiently instead of slapping their seatmate and trying to eat their seatmate. Well, sometimes we eat our seatmate's seat, no matter how good of a good boy we are. Opportunistic.
Oh yeah, that may have been what they were
Stick
asking.
in your seats, paws to yourself, tails out of the aisles. Murray and Carl, you two are sitting in the emergency exit. Are you willing and capable of offloading the pups in a remote chance of an emergency? Carl, are you ready?
Carl.
Service.
Oh, he nodded. I know, we'll watch it again.
Thank you for riding with Mo Mountain Bikes. You guys got some treats from your fans again. Andrea. Up front here, we have little Louie.
Little Louie. It blows my mind, Venus.
Here's Echo.
They're all so adorable. I want to love on all of them.
Here we have Carl.
Jinx, Venus. Was it Carl?
You'll get one.
You'll get one. Murray. They're all losing part of their chips. I'm gonna go ahead and say that chips are probably not good bus snacks. It's hard for them to get their and that's where like a viewer sent them in, so they want to do it on video for them and everything.
Bama. Excuse you.
Amaru, not for you. Guess who farted? This guy. What's going on, my friend?
There, girl. Nope, Marley's gonna get it.
Chum.
I did not rage quit on Rob Noir, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Indiana.
He raged on me.
Stay shoe.
And we both raged on each other. It was a lot of yelling. Rob Noir. Rob Noer. Noer. That's it. Noerr. Mox, good evening.
Now for the squeaky chirper impatient Tully back here. So something I'm not going to do is give it to him when he's too excited or...
It is on my YouTube channel. You can go back and watch it, but like it really, like both of us are like fucking 12 the entire fucking time. It's a lot of yelling. It originally, there's that like modern day debates or something like that. They reached out to me, and there was supposed to be a moderator, and I think there was a hurricane at that time. Oh, I don't remember there being any yelling at Old Gord. And yes, Old Gord was hilarious. The earth is a flat, motionless plane, and there's a firmament above, aka the dome, separating the waters from above. Jesus Christ is Lord. We will take that into consideration. You know now, 33. I appreciate you telling me that.
They're chirping like that, so I'm going to wait for him to be calm for a good moment. Because we don't want to reward that slapping and protest barking. This is good for their impulse control. This is how we reward calmness. Good boy. So I'm sticking my hand out. He gets a little jumpy, so I just stop what I'm doing and restart.
Adorable. I got again.
Yeah, you can view it on me if you want to see this.
Damn Venus!
Very good boy.
Taking bong rips.
And with enough repetitions, it gets better and better each time until they're calmly waiting patiently instead of slapping their seatmate and trying to eat their seatmate. Well, sometimes we try to eat our seatmate's seat, no matter how good of a good boy.
If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to you guys so I can play a copyrighted song.
Please stay.
On the other side, we're going to watch Billy Idol play Rebel Yell on the Empire State Building.
And Carl.
Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. We'll see you on Sunday, YouTube. Unless I come on and we stream like a Harris or Trump rally. That's possible. Keep your eye out for that. So good night to the YouTubers.